We always hear about how important sleep is. That magic 7 to 9 hour rule that, doctors recommend. Anytime you search up how much sleep you should be getting, usually falls in between that 7 to 9 hours. But do you ever get that 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 hours of sleep and you wake up and you still feel groggy, like you didn't get enough sleep, and then for the rest of the day you feel, foggy, you can't really think straight? So in the past couple weeks I've done some research trying to figure out how I can have a better quality of sleep that I would like to share with you guys. Now that being said, if you're the type of person who is not getting, that 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you should really focus on trying to get the quantity of sleep first. If you're the type of person that sleeps 4 hours a day and then chugs coffee in the morning and then you think that you feel fine, just know that that's probably going to catch up to you. There's a lot of studies that show that lack of sleep, affects judgment and decision making, especially in teens and adolescents. But I'm hoping some of the tips that I give you can be applied to no matter what kind of lifestyle you have. If you're somebody who has to wake up early or you don't really have to, you can use these tactics and figure out what works for you. So to ensure that you get a better sleep quality, you need to focus on 3 different areas: things you do before you go to bed, things you do while you're trying to go to bed, and the things you do in the morning. Making a positive change is all about looking at how you're doing things right now and how you can change them to have a positive effect. So there are a lot of things that you can do before you go to bed to ensure that you get a quality sleep. Something that I've been doing for a while now is I like to plan my day the night before. By writing out and planning any important activities or assignments the night before, planning your day can help alleviate some of that stress and anxiety that you might have right before going to bed. And a lot of the times that is what keeps people up at night. I like to use a whiteboard that I have in my room. It's on my wall, so when I wake up, it's the first thing that I see. I see the things that I have to get done that day. You can also use a journal or an app in your phone. Clean your room. By having a clean physical environment, you're also helping to declutter your mind at the same time. The last thing you want to see when you wake up is a dirty room. That is extremely unmotivating, and it's going to take your attention away from the things that have to get done in the day. Don't use any screens for at least an hour before you go to bed. I think this is probably one of the biggest issues for people who have sleeping problems, me included. It's really easy to sit on your phone until you get tired, until you realize that you're not getting tired because you're on your phone. Now, the blue light that comes from your screens, it tricks your brain into thinking that that light is coming from the sun, and that messes up your circadian rhythm. Do things that are relaxing for the last hour before you go to bed. Have a hot tea, take a hot bath, you can meditate, read. All of these things will help you unwind in that last hour before you go to bed. Now, if for some reason this isn't possible for you, if you're the type of person that has to work late, or if you have an assignment due that you're staying up for, I recommend getting an app called Flux on your computer. What this app does is it puts a yellow tint over your screen that helps to diffuse a lot of that blue light. You can also get a pair of blue light glasses. I recently got a pair of these that I've been using whenever I'm working late, and I've noticed that by using blue light glasses and the Flux app, it's really helped to get rid of a lot of headaches and eye strain whenever you're working on the computer at night. But if you can, really try to not use any screens for at least an hour before you go to bed. If you do this, I promise you're going to go to sleep faster and you're going to sleep better. Now, these 3 things that I've listed are probably the biggest ones that I've noticed have made the greatest impact on my sleep quality. But there are still a few more that I would recommend doing. I would strongly recommend that you work out during the day. Every single day, just try to get 20-30 minutes at least of some physical activity. I don't need to jump into the studies because there's been millions of them and I'm sure you've heard of this before, but physical activity is super beneficial for your mental and your physical health, and it's been proven to drastically help sleep quality as well. I also recommend putting your phone on the other side of the room. Number 1, this helps to stop you from trying to use your phone in the middle of the night if you see you got a notification or something. And number 2, when you wake up, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to snooze. So when you wake up and you have to walk across the room, you're already up, so you might as well stay up. Don't eat before you go to bed. If you eat a big meal right before you go to bed, your body's going to have to digest that. And there is a lot of research showing that eating before you go to bed can negatively impact your sleep. Lastly, if you're having a lot of trouble falling asleep, you can take melatonin. Melatonin is basically the chemical in your brain that causes you to go to sleep. So you can get these at like any pharmacy, but this is a temporary solution. I wouldn't recommend trying to take these every single day. These suckers really knock you out, but you don't want to rely on them. So by the time you get to bed, if you've done everything that I've mentioned, you should be pretty much ready to pass out. But there still are a few things that you can do to ensure that that quality of sleep remains throughout the entirety of the night. One thing that a lot of people recommend is sleeping in a cold room. Sleeping when your body is hot can prevent you from falling into that deep REM sleep. When you're sleeping and you're hot, it just does not give you the best sleeping environment. You also want to ensure that your room is as dark as possible. Don't even have a light on in the corner, because that can distract you from falling into deep sleep. Now, if you're in bed and you followed everything that I've said, and it's been over 15-30 minutes and you still can't fall asleep, get up, try to do something else that's relaxing for a little bit, and then go back to bed. The morning is when you make probably the most crucial decision in this entire sleeping process. You're going to have to decide if you're going to snooze or not. Now, the reason that I said you have to put your phone at the other side of the room is because it makes snoozing a lot harder. But it doesn't make it impossible. There are a lot of times where you'll walk across the room and you're going to be fighting that urge to snooze. Especially in the beginning, you're going to have to find that discipline to get up no matter how tired you are. Now, something you need to know is that this gets easier. The more and more that you do this, the more and more that you wake up right to the sound of your alarm, you get up and you do something productive, it gets easier every single time. And eventually you'll be doing it and you won't even need an alarm. Now, how the rest of the day goes, it's completely up to, your schedule, how you live your life. But if I could recommend one thing that you should do right after you wake up is just try to do something that is positive, start your morning off on a positive note. Go outside for a walk, or, if you don't have that much time, take 10 seconds and just reflect on how you want the day to turn out. I used to think this is some mumbo jumbo stuff until you realize that you can seriously make a difference in how you picture the world and how you approach different types of problems or anything in your life. So, not to get too philosophical, but I recommend trying that out. And if you guys do it and you see any positive results, give me a comment. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching this video, guys. And if I could end this on one note, I would say consistency is key. Just like anything, you have to do this for a little bit before you start seeing any results. It might be pretty hard in the beginning depending on how your sleep schedule is right now. But actually try to do this for a few weeks and see how you feel. If you follow everything that I've said, you're on your way to sleeping good, feeling good. And if you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe, like, all that YouTube stuff would be appreciated. Alright guys, peace out.